ain't got it. Broke. We ain't got it. Don't spend no money. Ain't got no clothes. Ain't got no cars. Ain't got no hoes. We broke.
Ladies and gentlemen.
You're now listening. 1, 2. Broke. We ain't got it. We broke.
Okay, checking levels. We are here. It's Two Broke Twimbos. We back again with a fresh new episode. You know, Two Broke Twimbos, Dan and Phil. Keep it coming. That's what we do. My name is Danny, that guy.
Yeah, much like a rabbit.
AKA Danias. AKA the only guy. AKA your girlfriend probably pities me. AKA Dan more. When you look at my body weight, it's more like Dan less.
Eheka. And he's here with the one and only, the irrefutable, the unmistakable, the honorable, soon to be doctorable, Phil Chad, aka Flay Floss the Big Boss, baby, aka
Pizza P,
aka Filthy Phil, aka Sexington Lovu, aka Shamari, Ditengero Dringi. And we're back once again with a new episode, new fire. We are still in the midst of Haifa. And the great thing about Haifa, despite its crazy prices, is it brings together an eclectic...
White people and black people?
No, it's Rastas and white women, but yeah. What it does is it brings some of the influences in global music, you know what I mean, to Harare. It brings some of the people that have their fingers firmly affixed to the pulse of the musical scene
Worldwide.
and further afield, if not even further
Than that.
furthermore. And one of those individuals is a young woman, a blogger, a writer, a PR strategist. We also recently discovered she's a singer.
No.
Karaoke.
That's one thing she's not.
Oh my god. Oh
Yes, the one and only Phiona Okumu, or Phiona on Twitter and the social medias. She's also, I think she manages Social Media Week Johannesburg. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. I mean, she's doing big things out here, man. She's doing big things. So she knows what's popping in these streets. You know what I mean? She knows what we need to do. You know what I mean? To get our mixtape out there. You know, we got a new mixtape.
Spitting them hot podcast bars, son.
It's called Struggles and Sandals. Dropping soon.
God, where am I?
First track is called No Socks.
Track
Anyway.
2, Ash on My Toes.
I cannot.
Yeah.
Anyway, so long story short, you know what we do. We like to give you guys the in-depth, inside-outside of what's going on in music throughout the world. And of course, especially if you're an artist, a struggling rapper who keeps spamming people's DMs with mixtapes, this will give you an opportunity to find out what really you need to do to be able to get out there and be as popular as some of the really popular rappers like...
That guy, Koma Billy.
Billy is that's a great rapper, that one.
Billy.
Also, I think John, there's a rapper called John somewhere, I think.
Yeah.
He's pretty cool.
Oh, by the way, I forgot. She's. What is your role? I think she's music. Is music editor or music reporter for The Guardian? What is that?
Right. So, you didn't even tell them what my name is.
Okay, sorry, we did, but okay, please can you introduce
you
yourself?
You gave them my Twitter handle.
I said your full name.
You did not. You didn't. Anyway, I don't have any AKAs. I feel a little bit...
Oh, shots fired. Down south.
I don't have any AKAs, and I feel like nobody briefed me about that, because I could have brought the sheet as well, but no problem. At The Guardian, so yes, one of the things that I do is I blog for them on their introducing new music from around the world blog, and my designation, owing to the fact that I guess I run AfriPOP Mag, is the African playlist. So every fortnight I just go on there and put 5 songs which I think are hot, or which kind of are part of a theme of some description, and yeah, that's what I do. So it's just blogging, not...
Whoa, let me get this straight.
Yes.
So basically, if there's any Zimbabwean artist
the floodgate,
who want to appear in Europe as an up-and-coming artist in these illustrious journals.
Yes.
They just need to buy you a bottle of wine.
Good wine.
Need a
though.
bag, $7.
It's got to be at least Nederberg.
Or a 3-liter box.
Established. No boxes.
$12.
No boxes. But yeah, so how it works, and what I pride myself in doing is trying to take bits from, what's top line, what's obviously very mainstream and popular. So I'll put like a Wizkid on there, and then I will put like something that's a bit obscure. I've done that for, who was the last? I think I recently must have posted. Who was the Zimbabwean guys that you spoke to recently?
The Monkey Nuts.
Yes, I think I've done something like that. So, I try to put a balance and a different, like a spread of African music, because my whole thing is out there in the world, outside of Africa, there's an expectation of what African music is supposed to sound like, and I kind of try to come up against that, because, we're all part of the world. We're all part of this kind of globalization movement, and we should reserve the right to be able to kind of define what our sound is, what our thing is, all of that stuff. And it's just great that, The Guardian allows me to do that.
So are the rumors true that you are the sole and only reason why the Monkey Nuts were signed to Barely Breaking Even?
Yeah, it was only me. No, of course not. I discovered the Monkey Nuts after they were signed to BBE. In fact,
so basically you've done absolutely nothing for the Monkey Nuts.
I'm useless to your cause. I don't even know why I'm on this show. But no, what's good about these guys is they hit me up. They looked me up. They found me. I don't know how they found me, to be honest, but they sent me an email, and I'm very easy to find if you just do a bit of research. They sent me an email, and I believe his name is Josh. Josh was like, check us out, we're on BBE. And I think that was good of him to say that, because I've not heard of a lot of artists. That and not recently anyway. Barely Breaking Even is one of those labels that's known for having been quite edgy. But I hadn't heard from them for quite a little while. So I thought, BB, they're back, obviously. So let me check this out. And it just so happened that I liked what I heard. So that was a good move on their part.
That's kind of unfair. So, you're only going to post what you like?
Yeah.
Come on. Surely...
I'm pretty sure that's how blogging works.
I'm just saying. What if someone else likes it and you don't? You know what I mean?
Then they should get a blog.
They should. They should.
All right, dope. So I think the reason why, obviously, aside from the fact that you know your stuff and everything, I think one of the reasons why this would be an invaluable podcast, especially to artists and aspiring artists and friends of artists and parents of artists, is because obviously you know what it takes to be successful in the music industry to a certain extent. Yeah.
In theory. We all think we have the basic kind of ideas of what should happen, but it's been known to happen that you kind of say, do this and do that, and it doesn't all add up to the desired result. So I'm not a magician, not a fortune teller, but I know something.
Okay. Cool. All right. So, that's...
Spill the beans.
What do you want me to say?
We want our mixtape to blow.
Let the cat out of the bag, please.
Well, ask the specific question, because what do you want me to say? You want me to tell you what must happen for me to be successful?
Okay.
Yes.
No!
I think the recurring theme we have on this show is we've interviewed over 30 artists now. And the majority of them are Zimbabwean. Whenever they come in, they're like, in our estimation and in their estimations, we both agree they have talent, they're producing good content, but they're failing to break through regionally. They're failing to get their videos on Channel O, MTV Base, Trace TV. They're failing to get playlisted in South Africa or Kenya, Nigeria. Just basically establish their fan base outside of Zimbabwe. They've hit a ceiling and they don't know how to go beyond that. So what would you say to artist A, B, C, or D who feels that they've reached a glass ceiling and they're trying to expand their fan base?
Okay. Number one, it all depends on where it is that you're trying to cross over. Every region is different. I found that some markets are just so much harder than others. I was speaking to Two-Face.
Batman?
Yeah.
From Batman?
I love these guys. Okay, Two-Face, Idibia, and
not from Batman.
And so not that guy. And
I love Two-Face from Batman. He's the best. Two-Face from Nigeria. Okay, cool.
That dude. So we were speaking about this very thing because the big question right now is everyone is now looking at Nigeria as a possible market just because there's so many damn Nigerians. Sorry.
Fact only.
Yeah, go.
You know what I mean? It's a populous. It's a very exciting industry, and things move over there from what we see outside. But the point that he made to me was that yes, there's so many over there that we're trying to make it. We're trying to make it. It's saturated, and we are also trying to kind of get out of there. So if you think it's difficult in your territory, it's even harder if you're coming to try and break in Nigeria. Mm-hmm. So he basically said, don't bother. I mean, I wouldn't say that, but a place like that, you're talking top tier, like you need to, like with what happened with Mafiki Zolo, that was obvious, like it was the cosign, right? Mm-hmm. So it was the Davido, coming together with the Mafiki Zolo and kind of making that happen, and cross-pollination and so on. So for somewhere like that, you need heavy hitters. Like there's no kind of underground move into Nigeria, whereas a place like, a European territory, if you have a good enough...
Lithuania.
Yes, if you're going to Finland or somewhere
Lithuania.
There, then you can think about an internet strategy which can get you into those kinds of places, I feel. Because they are more open to this kind of thing. And if you already have the networks, if you're already engaging with, and there are steps to get there. I'm skipping a few of them, but what I'm saying is that if you're trying to get into, a niche market, like a small kind of European manageable territory, then the internet, the YouTubes, the community expansion, that kind of stuff is more it's more useful to your strategy than what you would do in Nigeria. So that's all of that to say that what you want to do in different territories depends on the territory.
Okay, fair enough. Mm-hmm. So obviously the average artist is not thinking, I want to break into Liechtenstein. All they're thinking is, I want to be successful. How do I? So I guess now it's a matter of...
How do I make it big outside of my country?
How do I make it big, period? That's all they get. I want to get paid for my music.
And that's another thing. Like in Zimbabwe, an artist can be big, they can be popular, but they can't pay the bills because they're not making that type of money. Yeah,
and that's a tough one. I'm from Uganda myself, and I find that you're more. It's the entertainment industry, the entertainment business is not as lucrative as what you would find in, say, a developed market like South Africa, right? So I kind of get that struggle. Now, I'm trying to. Because it feels like it's there's so many details. Topic, it's such a broad topic that I'm kind of struggling to make it concise. But what I would say is this: if you have a home fan base, that's the beginning, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have a home fan base, then there's no conversation to be had. Because what people like say. I'm trying to think of a successful, like an artist who has crossed over successfully. D'banj. D'banj would have never made it in England if he hadn't completely explored all the opportunities in Nigeria, right? So by the time he got to the table to negotiate the deals.
To be fair, I think the main thing was that he kept saying his name in every song.
So you thought that was the golden ticket?
Yeah. That was
I think that I think you'll find.
I swear, even when he prays,
come here, Cocolettes.
Hello, God, I'm D'banj.
Coco Master. It's difficult because you see, again, in Europe, They look at things which we don't necessarily, they measure things which we don't necessarily. So for example, I would say to them, oh, check out the new Davido, like a A&R friend of mine. Check out, he's the next one to blow. And he'd look at Davido, and at the time it would be like something like, 80,000 views on YouTube. And he's like, but he's only got 80,000 views on YouTube. And for us, 80,000 views on YouTube. Oh my God, that's amazing. That's amazing. You know what I mean?
YouTube goes past like 20,000?
You see what I mean? So that's what I mean when I say, like, sometimes it's just very difficult to say what works here is going to work over there. But I feel like, first of all, if you secure your home base, then that's going to hold you down. Then the next thing you need to think about is, okay, if I want to get into somewhere like, let's talk about the UK. I know that I cannot just sell you on music alone. I cannot just go to the editor, my editor, Michael Han, and say, check this out, this is a great song, whatnot, because he wants to know why he should care. He wants to understand story, backstory is important. So for example, I recently posted something about a DJ from Portugal, and she is, okay, it's not just this is a hot Kudura song, but she is a 16-year-old DJ. She is from Portugal, but her parents are originally from Cape Verde and Mozambique. All these things that kind of build into editorial, which will then make you interesting enough for them to publish, which will then put you in front of the right eyes, and so on and so forth. So you've got to find the thing which makes you stand out and harness it, I think. Why should people care?
So basically, if you're just like, hey, I went to school and then I bought some software and I made music and here it is.
No. So we are basically, if you're Johnny Blazo from suburbia, get a drug habit,
that helps.
Recover.
It's always
get shot maybe.
Maybe study to become a pastor, then get involved in some sort of sexual harassment case or something like that.
And then live in a war-torn country for a bit.
It's a bit unfair.
Dodge bullets.
But think about it. Think about Kanan. Let's talk about Kanan, who, rest in peace, Kanan's career at the moment.
Oh my way.
But what I'm saying is, she said
rest in peace, Kanan's career. Is he done? Like, what happened?
Are you not going to edit this?
No. This is brilliant, but go on.
So sorry I said that.
I love Kanan.
Let me talk you through what my experience of Kanan was. I saw Kanan go through the entire trajectory. And there's a very good friend of mine, Taponeswa, who you all know.
Yes.
I give her every credit for blowing this guy up in the UK. I really, really do. I saw him when he was doing the little mini shows in Cargo. Cargo was one of those rites of passage venues where you just, and you're like, yeah, hopefully one day. And then, it became like Shepherd's Bush. And then it was like Damian Marley support, like all the big, and I saw that and it was beautiful to see. What was special about Kanan was the fact that the story lived in a war-torn country, escaped, He also had the music to go with it. He was extremely charismatic, super articulate. And here's the unfair thing about crossing over to those Western markets. They almost place an unfair burden on you because now you're suddenly an ambassador for everything of where you represent, of where you come from. So for example, Kanan became the go-to guy for everything about Somalia. Like, oh my goodness, they're bombing this and that. Let's get Kanan on CNN. You know what I mean? It became that. Luckily, he was articulate enough to catch that ball at every turn. Let me give you an example of where that didn't quite work out. A recent example.
I know where this is going.
I'm sorry, but I have to keep bringing this up because it was so disappointing to me. I watched, and as we all did, we saw the interview that Ice Prince did on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne and those guys, and it was the most. I mean, people keep telling me that I'm exaggerating, that it wasn't as bad as, but I cringed very many times throughout that interview because they threw at him the silliest questions. There was one point where they asked him, "Yo, what's up with the white rhino, man?" And I was just like, why
would he know?
Why would he know? And he said, "I don't know." And I was like, okay, that's fair enough. That's not your question. But then they asked him, "So, yo, Boko Haram, like, what's going on?" He sidestepped that one. And I was just like, yeah, I don't know if that was the move, like, this is your chance to talk and be, present who you are, your smarts, your intelligence, because it's almost like, I don't know if they would ask Waka Flocka to expand on the things in Baltimore if he came over here. I
don't think he could.
but
Big squad!
But that's what I'm saying. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like we have it's like with anything, like any time that you're going into a space where you're a minority, where you are lesser advantaged, you have to be 5 million times better than the ones that have come before you. And so you must keep that in mind. In addition to being extremely original, extremely good at what you do, you also have to be so brainy, and you have to have all these things, because they're going to ask you if you're a Nigerian and you go to, they're going to ask you about, so just be prepared, and he wasn't at all. So there were, that's just one. I'm not going to go too deep into that because I don't want to seem like a...
Masculago, like
he had one job, right?
You had one job. One job.
Prepare the damn get a ghostwriter.
Oh my god. And then for Charlemagne to say, "Come on, man, step up." I just felt so bad. I couldn't watch after that. But for me, it was a preparation thing. And I think that's what got him, was the fact that he knew that he didn't have it. That's what threw him during the freestyle, So just that. So when you're entering a new territory, do extra work because it's not going to be easy. You're not getting the Waka Flocka treatment. Yeah. You're not just going to go there and chill. Simple as.
Fair enough. I guess if you're not actually brainy or whatever, just prepare.
You're screwed.
No, but I mean, like, prepare. I've seen a lot of interviews where I've noticed that this person is giving the exact same answer in the exact same way as they did in an interview they did somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I think, look, if you can't do it off the cuff,
there's nothing wrong with being a robot. Just be a charismatic robot.
Talk. Dibanj is not. Oh, let me be kind. He's cool. He's charismatic.
Yes.
The Coco Master.
But not very intelligent or not very...
He's not that guy. Like, he's not Tumi. You know what I mean? And we don't have to be Tumi, but what I'm saying is that, but he'll go in there and you will remember Dibanj, if nothing at all.
Yeah.
So there's that too, and stars are stars are stars. Not everyone is going to kill it abroad. We have to manage our expectations as well. So
yeah,
sorry for that.
No, but I mean, but why did you say rest in peace to Kanan's career?
No, we're not going into that.
No, I just want to know. I mean, I like Kanan.
I still do. He very recently I was listening to the Troubadour album, and I just felt like so much could have been done with this album, and it wasn't. And then that really, like, the nail in the coffin, that album that came after that finished him off. I mean, there was a time he wrote that
Wave Your Flag.
No. I think Waving Your Flag was brilliant. Actually, I had no problem with that.
There was a 4-track EP he dropped. I think it was like 2012, 2013.
Yes,
I've got 3 Kanan albums. I'm trying to remember.
Yes, it's the most recent one. I think there's a Bono song on it. There's a Nelly Furtado song on it, and it is just the most, like, if you want to appeal to Middle America, you can try, but you must understand that's almost not Kanan's lane. Like, when you come in, singing about, even Waving Flags originally, that's a heavily political song. It's just that Coke changed it for the
for the World Cup,
and for the melody, and it was a fantastic song. But I just feel like they tried to go there too quickly, and it doesn't work. It doesn't work. He should have worked on nurturing this audience of his, which was building really nicely and organically. The Nas and the Damian Marley circles, and that was going well. And then they just went over there, like, straight far right.
Try to go mainstream type thing.
Too quickly, and it's almost like it's a very short-sighted way to think about a career. because there are lots of people who are not necessarily top 10 artists, but who are having the best lifestyles, best creative control, respect, credibility, all of these things that you imagined that Kanan was about. But clearly, I mean, somebody had other intentions. So he wrote something in the New York Times basically apologizing for that album, is what I'm saying. So, and it's never been the same since. I feel like his confidence might have disappeared. I don't know where he is. Where is he? Or maybe he's at the drawing board. Maybe I just said that prematurely. Yeah, but I just feel like it's not impossible, but to come back from that, he's going to have to really do some making up, because that was a terrible, terrible album. Terrible.
Yo, it's hard out here, guys. It's hard out here.
It's not easy. And I use the example of Kanan because that was the closest I've seen of an African hip hop artist getting so close to, that level of success. Like, the guy was internationally recognized properly, That was amazing.
We were rooting for him.
We really were rooting for this guy. We really were. So
the first Indian over the hill.
You know what I mean?
And
like
those
guys,
cowboys started
any day
shooting.
now. And they got our guy.
Yeah. Well,
So,
let's touch that. You spoke about Tumi.
Yes.
Tumi being the antithesis of the non-charismatic. So what's your relationship like with Tumi? What is Tumi doing right? For those that don't know, we're talking about Tumi Molekane.
Formerly of Tumi and the Volume.
He was at Haifa 3 years ago.
3 years ago. With
Yes,
the
great artist.
Yeah.
Working on Rob the Church. When is that album dropping, yo?
Has Rob the Church not dropped?
It is not.
Listen, just because you get all the music first.
Oh, sorry.
and
That's the thing. That really is the thing. I feel like it dropped in my house.
No, it is not.
Really?
They just dropped it Idoma, and then that was that.
Oh,
But
I
yeah,
didn't
we'll come
know
back to
that.
Idoma. Let's go back to...
Okay, so my relationship with Tumi is like a son to me.
Wait, what?
Yes. Yeah, so
old are you?
How young is he?
How old am I? Yeah, look at me. No. So Tumi and I go back. There was a very brief stint where I was doing a bit of work with him, like doing a bit of PR representation. Very, very brief stint, but that doesn't, that's not the case anymore. And what was the other question?
Like, what is he doing right?
What is Tumi doing right? You know what? Tumi has been very, he's been very clear about what it is that he does. Number one, he is an unbelievable MC. He's beasting. He always has, I still feel like there are very few, if any, parallels with Tumi, and I think he even believes as much.
Yeah, like
My Tumi, bless him.
Tumi will drop references that will have you on Wikipedia for 30 minutes.
Right.
And you're like, oh my. Tumi's dope. Like, Tumi will link. Anyway, this sounds like a massive jerk off session.
I understand.
Like the way he links multisyllabic raps, and then you'll have a double entendre that'll link to another double entendre, then goes back to the first double entendre. Yeah.
This is a guy, and he
does it over melodies that are catchy.
And Tumi is incredible. Like, when you see him on stage, there is something that is magical that happens. The second to last time I saw Tumi on stage, I hadn't seen him for about a good 5 years. I went to Malawi, to the Lake of Stars. And I just was like, whatever happens is whatever happens. I believe this was the time when he was in the process of making Rob the Church. So all of this was stuff I had never heard before. And I was like, let me see if this magic still exists. And I just stood there and I watched every other band that had come to perform just be transfixed and just be amazed by what they were saying. There wasn't even, he was just being Tumi with a band, but he was just magical. There's something that he has, and there's that X factor that Tumi has. I don't think it's something that he necessarily has. Or does. It's a thing that he has. It's a gift. Some people just have that. But like I said, he's very he's very clear about his messaging, what he stands for. So he's not a mainstream artist. He's not AKA. He's not, I don't think, ever going to be, top kind of the most popular selling artist in South Africa. It has never been the case. And I think he has been quite accepting of that simply because he has another audience. He's got a French audience. So, and this is what they like about Tumi. So he's quite lucky in that he doesn't have to pander. He doesn't have to give in to trends and stuff if he likes something enough. And that's not to say Tumi's on there just doing kind of dictionary raps. Absolutely not. Tumi likes the most ratchet of raps. He'll tell you, like, but he can see the science in every single MC. People who we might write off, he's like, nah, this is good because of this, that, and the next thing. So what he's good at is he is just an exceptional artist.
Would you say then that it's actually a good idea to stick to whatever niche audience you've built, whatever little lane that you've created for yourself, without really worrying too much about trying to get into the mainstream? Yes,
for an artist like Tumi, because it's not a mainstream product. It's not going to get this, the fact that I hear him on radio sometimes, I'm surprised. I'm like, oh, they're playing Tumi. That never used to even happen. So know yourself, know it, and embrace what it is that if you're anyone else, of course, like do what you have to do. And the thing is, even with Tumi, he does those tracks where he records with Ice Prince and whatnot, but for an entirely different purpose. It's not to be, it's not to be debanj or to, because that's not realistic. But it's just so that he can show a versatility that he has. So it's all about managing your own definition of who you are and what you offer.
Right.
Yeah.
That being said, how do you think he handled that whole fracas about his video?
Yeah, you know what? I was really upset about that because I know Tiwa's team. And obviously Tumi is that's my people. So so the way he went at it wasn't the most sober of ways. It was the social media call out, wasn't it? On Twitter, he just went in, which I understand why, because that's some of these guys in Nigeria. That's the only way you're going to get at them. And I believe the response came back from just Clarence. Did he ever respond? Clarence Peters never responded.
Oh, you're talking about the video, and I was talking about the other one. But okay, let's talk about that one. Okay, you're talking about the Asina Mali,
and
Iminado video jack.
Oh, you want to talk about this other thing?
I was talking about that. But let's talk about the video jack. I mean, let's be honest. Clarence Peters has been known to copy and paste a couple of times,
as have many video directors, not to justify what he did.
Yeah.
Because even Tumi's own video is inspired by the Roots.
Yeah.
Right? But he makes it absolutely clear that that's an homage. It's a homage. Whereas Clarence,
that's what homage.
Whereas Clarence, I believe he never said a word, and he never will say a word because Nigeria is like that. Like, nobody cares, ultimately. It's so cowboy, in that territory. And the response from Tiwa's team, which really pissed me off, was they said, oh my goodness, yeah, we can see that this happened. And, I'm looking at Tumi's video now and it's still only 80,000 views in 3 years. I can understand why he would be mad. This is, and I was just like, you didn't understand what the problem was, but that's where it ended. And so what do you say about that? Is that there's really no solution to that. Now, coming to the issue with Simpiwe, because that was who the problem was.
Well, it blew. I think Simpiwe caught it like after it had built momentum. Because I remember, I think Simpiwe hollered at him on like a Tuesday. If I remember, on a Sunday, I checked my timeline, and I follow a few of the quote-unquote Black South African feminists.
The feministas.
And then they had caught wind of the screen grab. But I'd seen the video.
And they went for him.
But like the thing was, like, when I saw the video, I kind of got it because it was in context.
Yes.
So, and that's my issue. My issue was, when you just take a screen grab out of context, it removes a lot of what he's trying to say.
Also, the fact that she didn't watch the video.
Yeah.
and I don't want to sound like I'm attacking or taking sides or whatever, but the fact that she didn't watch it or try to understand it, like, I feel like they didn't really try, however debatable it may have been, because I think it's great that came out as like, look, this, you're perpetuating something which we are up against, and stand up for us and whatever. I see what their argument was, but I feel like they went in there guns blazing without really having kind of investigated what he might have been trying to say, however flawed. I feel like feminism, even, the way it's expressed, there's no perfect way of, because Tumi will say to you he's a feminist.
Guys, are we safe to continue? Like, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
You see, Dan is an idiot who kind of puts his foot in his mouth a lot, so he gets burnt a lot
by the feministas.
Yeah.
Quite often. It's not very pleasurable.
I can imagine it's not. And yeah, I feel like, you see, there's no, sometimes there are gray areas, especially with art, especially with hip hop. I mean, I'm a person who, I listen to, what's the Biggie album? No, not Ready to Die. Life After Death. That's my running album. The misogyny in that album. I mean, you know what I mean?
I need another in my life.
All of that. And those are some of my favorite musics in the world. So I think like, well, I almost don't really have a leg to stand on if I enjoy this so much. So I'm not excusing misogyny, but I'm just saying that in this art
area
that we live and love, it's almost impossible for me to be like, all of this is wrong and shut this down and whatever, because of all the other things that I mean, even like Jose Loyal. Come on, that for me was one of the best songs that happened last year. Really, it was. But I mean, that's a terrible, like, if you're thinking about feminist values, that's not a good song. That's really not a song. You shouldn't be playing that song.
No, I get your point. I think what I noticed is, I think when it started,
doesn't he say in that song, these ain't loyal?
These.
Oh wait, no,
he's
that's
on radio, so you only gets the clean
that's
version.
the edited version.
Oh,
Anyway, back to the matter. I think, like, for people that don't know Tumi actually is a feminist. I mean,
he is.
He put a lot of work into the Power mixtape, did a lot with the Power video, and the Power video is still so relevant that you have TV shows 4 years later using it as a quote-unquote ad campaign. And I think he found it so laughable that, wait, you guys are...
I'm on your side.
Are you forgetting, like, all I've done for you guys?
Yeah.
And he instead of just saying, guys, check the video or put everything in context, or just giving it a little bit of seriousness, when he took it for a joke for like that first week, it gave everyone else more momentum.
That's what.
And
that's what the problem
Twitter
was.
is the home ground for sensationalism.
Yeah.
They were like, "Oh, we're angry about this," before even researching the facts. Bam, 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 bam. And then before you know it, he's got a torrent of angry feministas, and he's in the studio recording Mr. Nice Guy.
So ironic. So very.
But even
ironic.
Mr. Nice Guy, I just felt it was a little tone deaf.
Apologetic.
A little tone deaf.
Really?
I thought it was a little tone deaf.
Is it?
Yeah, because the first line. You know the first line, right? Anyway, yeah. Back to the matter.
Back to the matter. So what do I think of the whole thing? I think that there's always going to be these slip-ups which are going to hopefully spark a discussion and kind of make us kind of measure where we're at in pop culture and black expression and where women are in this. So I think that it did more. He was the sacrificial lamb for it, but I think it did more good than harm. I'm glad that the discussion happened, and that's my diplomatic answer.
Thank you. So, back to Zimbabwe. You came here for Haifa.
I did, yes.
You're part of the IMDP Music Conference. So, how are you finding?
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
You're honored.
Thank you very much.
So, how are you finding Zimbabwe, Haifa, the conference?
If I'm honest, I haven't had a good enough look around as much as I would have liked to. know all, I know you guys virtually, thankfully, and I feel like if I didn't know you guys, I don't know how I would have connected with everyone else that's happening over here. I'm struggling to figure out what is the pulse of Harare, like the way when you go to Joburg you can say, okay, this is the thing. You know what I mean? So that for me is it's I'm still trying to negotiate that. I feel like the festival is extremely broad, and I think that's great. I haven't seen a festival of this kind of diversity, not even in South Africa. In South Africa there are festivals, but it's always like the white people's festival, the black people's festival. It's not, and I've not seen one that's 7 days long. That's a long time to host a festival for. So it's nice to have, I guess, something that you guys look forward to. 7-day turn up, all this kind of stuff. So I think it's cool. Like, I'm really happy to be here. Really, I am.
Are there any, aside from what you mentioned, the monkey nuts, are there any acts that you've seen here or Zimbabwean acts that you know of that are kind of on your radar?
I've always liked Netsai. I feel like she's one of those artists that has so much to say. I'm not entirely sure the story, like how come she's here and stuff like that. She was in the UK, right?
Yeah, she says she came back because she had a family. She raised them.
Yeah.
So now she's running a business with her husband down here.
Oh, they're running a business. Okay, that's great. I like Netsai. Who else? I've always liked Tendai. Ten Diamond.
Name dropping first. I don't call him by his stage name. I know his government name.
Sorry,
Philip.
Sorry. I really take to him, and this is, it's one of those things where I spoke to him many, I only met him a couple years ago, but when we met, it was a real, like a genuine engagement. I feel like he's a genuine guy. And here's the thing, you know how they always say to you that, in the business you need to be an a-hole, whatever. I feel like there are a lot of people that get by also because they're really nice. I feel like Ten Diamond is one of those people who is going to go really far because he has a great consideration of people, as a real people person. Yes, I do.
The Zimbabwean Ten Diamond?
Yeah. This hater. This hater.
Nguni, the guy we know.
That dude. I'm so, and what a work ethic. Like, he's just really consistent. That's another thing. So when you guys asked about being successful, really, if you are absolutely adamant about what it is you're doing, don't confuse people. If your messaging is, and for me, I get it. Like, I see that what he's promoting is a positivity, upliftment, and I feel people need that. So I think that his heart is in the right place. So I'm into him. I want to hear more Zimbabwean stuff. I want to hear more dancehall, because I hear this is your bread and butter.
Phil is an aspiring dancer.
I could have never told.
Phil's up here on the record.
I could have.
Me not drop the freestyle for Phiona.
Pretty good.
Dan, give me the beat now. Give me the beat.
But who do you guys rate? Who should I be checking out?
Zim, like, it's, in terms of musicality,
yeah.
That straight up Tocky obviously killing it. I think Tocky is very musical.
Yeah.
Tocky Vybz,
Tocky Vybz.
I think and Tocky's actually is a crossover artist because he's quote unquote dancehall, but he does a lot of what you might term as African world music as well. He basically raps sometimes, and he could kill a lot of these rappers.
He could.
He doesn't really rap, dude.
It's
like he
toasting.
chants, sort of.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
Winky.
So is Winky still going?
Winky, in my estimation, like,
he was big for me.
The dancehall fans, the masses are very fickle. So like always going to the new.
Yeah, you last a maximum of maybe 6 months max. As
so it's quite got a high turnover. How about Buffalo? What's the story?
He's not really big.
He's not big.
Buff is not big in Zim.
He's big in SA.
Is he big in SA though? Because I
he won a Lord and he beat out Patrona King. I was like, what?
He did. When?
The Channel Awards. Like,
The recent
The
one.
ranking, yeah. And like he.
See, I don't know a recent Buffalo joint.
Ziawa.
he's got Ziawa, then he's got that item with Casper that should be coming out, the Busta Wine girl, Busta Wine.
But where's he based?
He's based in SA.
Oh, okay.
Dancehall is so tricky because, you know, there's a period for like Killer T was hot for like 4 months.
Yeah.
And then Soulja Love was hot for like, he was a while. He was like 9 months.
Dude, Killer T ran 2013.
Dude.
Of one song.
No, he didn't, man. By the 3 months after that song had come out, Killer T was just the
The weird thing is like, but you could say that song is probably like the biggest song of 2013 in terms of reach and like the movement of the thing, because his catchphrase was "What is rap footy?" Po 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 po. I remember there was one time I was coming from the club. Don't ask what I was doing.
Yeah.
It was like 3 a.m. I went to the petrol station and I was listening to him in the car, and I just shouted, "What is rap footy?" Just because I was enjoying the song.
Yeah.
Every single attendant, even the women in Chicken Inn,
Oh wow.
all went pop 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 pop.
Really?
Yeah, like, and I mean, for a long time, it made emceeing life so easy. You just rock up onto any stage, and it could be like classical Beethoven or whatever, you know what I mean? And you're like, what is it for table? But anyway,
in the back, pay.
but like right now, Tocky is not hot anymore.
He's not. So that his run is done.
Well, he's not as hot. Let me put it that, because he's still putting out music, and there's still people listening to him. But you can tell that the peak has gone past. Yeah.
So does Zimbabwean dancehall then have a very Zimbabwean stamp, other than the fact that it's in
It's getting there. Like,
an identity?
I think like the same thing with hip hop is when it was new, they were just emulating what they heard.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the fake patois, the
yeah,
dancehall,
yeah.
the same type as the beats. Now it's evolved.
Okay.
They still have this. They still have the similar type of beats,
Yeah.
but now they're using a lot more. Like Toki doesn't even have fake patois. It's straight Shona.
Okay.
And he's doing it right. Even Winky, even though he does have the accent of the fake accent,
the
Jafaican accent. Yeah, you use it. You know the Jafaican. What he does is his wordplay is so dope. His melodies are so dope.
Yeah.
His beat selection is dope.
Yeah.
And his work ethic.
He knows how to make a catchy hook. You know what I
And
mean?
live, Winky
he shuts it down.
Winky shut down Beanie Man.
No way.
Beanie Man, TOK. Who else did he kill when they came in? There was a 2-year run. There was basically a challenge.
international
Which
act
international act would get a bigger response than Winky D? Every time Winky D came out, he'd kill them. Even Elephant Man. Elephant Man was like,
wow,
this dude.
Really?
Yeah, but I mean, right now, to be fair, he's not really at the top of everyone's Zim dancehall list or whatever. But he's still consistently
still
putting out
got it.
music.
Yeah, I mean,
He's
like
still-
even with the Tribe One festival that never became.
God. Have we got over that yet? I haven't.
I don't think Sony have.
Oh my God.
Sony and the city of China.
Oh my Lord, my
25
Lord.
million, son.
Well, we saw that
25
coming,
million.
didn't we?
Anyway, so I mean,
Anyway, yeah, wait.
This is
my point.
Yeah, go
This
ahead.
is my point. Even with that, Winky was booked, and he was going to be. I think he was going to open up for Nicki Minaj.
Yeah. God, no way.
So you can just see, like, even they were like, okay, this dude is,
He'll kill.
and he's got that reputation. Tocky Vybz recently did UK. Tocky Vybz is now in Australia. Winky has done the world several times.
Really?
Yeah.
So when Zimbabwean acts do the world, is it for Zimbabwean diaspora?
It's a bit of both.
it's pretty much mostly diaspora.
Yeah.
It's mostly diaspora, and then
Winky, to a certain extent, had a bit of a bigger audience.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's almost guaranteed that a
That's
Toki
where
show
they-
anywhere else,
yeah.
only Zimbabweans will go because they heard from back home that he's killing it.
Right.
But yeah, but-
It's a tricky one. I think a lot of artists from Africa, that is it. And I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing.
But his problem is it's like he's not trying to be out of Zimbabwe. I got a call from Taponesa actually,
Yeah.
and I think she had heard his music for the first time.
Yeah.
And she's like, "How can I get in touch with him? How can I?"
Yeah.
I was like, "We were trying to get her in touch with his manager and whatever," but he literally he doesn't have a Twitter page. He doesn't have one that we officially know as his. His YouTube videos look like they were shot with a Nokia camera phone.
That thing. You see?
that's the problem, and that's the problem we have.
You see? And
Because to them, they're like, you want me to spend 2,000, 3,000 on a video?
Why?
Why? If I drop 300, I'm still...
I can eat.
Even like Shinso Man's why that video
Eish.
that video broke my heart.
It's nothing worse.
Shinso Man dropped a killer song.
Yeah.
Huge.
Yeah.
My mother, who hates anything urban,
Yeah.
was singing.
Oh.
And then he drops the video. The video was shot at a graveyard in an empty stadium with horrible after effects. Oh man, I was like, why are you doing this to me, man? Why are you
He's
doing-
no worse feeling.
Even worse,
Yeah.
Killer T,
Yeah.
Tirugumanya, one of the biggest dancehall songs. Like, I think he's got the most endorsements of a song ever.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he got Chicken In. Who else did he get, bruh?
He got loads of endorsements from
Like,
that song.
That
And
one
like,
song. So many endorsements. No music video in sight.
oh, there was kind of okay. It wasn't even a music video. It was like a
That freestyle
fan
video.
shot. I don't know what it was.
Follow
Same
up.
with Soldier Love, Dinu Yaoya.
Hey, that video is so horrible.
Huge, probably another one of the biggest dancehall songs.
Yeah, that was actually my favorite of last year.
Really?
Yeah, and it's
The
again.
video is basically him in front of some
A green screen.
not even green screen. Right? I'm trying to think what type
No,
of
that's
video.
way too advanced for a dancehall
It's
video.
granite block. It's not granite block. It's basically a concrete brick wall shot by some dude that came in from Holland. I think it was just happened to be in the country, and he caught the buzz. He's like, dude, let me shoot the video for you.
Was it not one of those like artistic?
I'll show you the
No,
video. It was
no,
not.
no,
It
you'll
was
see.
literally standing in front of a wall. The guy's just moving around trying to get the angles.
Shame.
But here's the thing. So I mean, like, obviously, I think there's like the ZimDancehall artists, especially. They kind of think I've got 4 months while I'm hot to get as much as I
So
can
they
out
are
of it.
quite short-sighted.
They're not
They
thinking.
don't think.
I want to blow up.
This is a music cultural thing, because in countries where music is a proven successful career, then you see the investment in it. You start to see these things happen. You know, I think it's a matter of time. I think, you know, like with every other economy that I've seen in Africa, it is going to gradually get there. But when?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we'll be here to see those days.
Anyway, clearly, girl, you know your things, you know, and it's a privilege to have spoken to you about these very important things that you know so much about. Say, for example, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, but say, for example,
Yeah.
I have a mixtape CD that
Yes.
I've kept in my house for the
Yes.
past 3 years,
Yes.
and I want to get it to you.
Yes.
What do I have to do?
Okay.
Wait, let me get a notepad.
Get a notepad and make a note that I think one of the worst things you can ever do is give me an actual CD. My computer doesn't have a CD drive. Only ever send me files. Yeah. And I'm quite open. Like I said, it's very easy to find me. My email address is everywhere on Google. Just Google me there. I'm on Twitter at Phiona or at AfriPOP Mag, which is my music blog handle. Hit me up there and just say, hey, check me out. Better yet, the email I prefer, because you can pitch in an email. The pitch matters, you know. I always tell people, like, I can tell from a title, from a paragraph, from an attachment, whether I'm going to play your song or not. Like, it doesn't even take much. And the number of deletes, unfortunately, are more than the listens at the moment. But
Fair enough.
I know that struggle. Eh?
you know that struggle, right?
Thank you, distinguished blogger, for receiving this email. The moment I read, delete. No,
you know. So it's just talk to me in the language that you think I will appreciate. Like, show me that you want this thing, you know. But most of all, please only send me good things. No one's got time. No one has got time.
I ain't got no time.
Good music, only
Good
thing
music.
that I like.
Good music.
You ain't got no style.
Oh, I'm really happy
Not gonna
to
feature you on my blog.
have been here. I want to say something emotional in parting. I mean, deep. That I can leave with you and the kids.
You could. You could.
Or
Or
or you could like have our pictures as the front page of Guardian, the Guardian.
We could
next
do
one.
that. That's
Zimbabwean
no problem.
bloggers set internet ablaze.
Break new ground.
Oh, thank you guys for having me. Really, really appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. You know,
Yes.
we know you're busy woman. You know, she's
Not
flat
that
out.
busy.
Well, whenever I email her, she's like, I'm busy. I can't talk to you right now, Phil. Bye.
And really?
Jeez.
Do I have your number, Phil?
No.
Do I have your number, Dad?
No.
Obviously not. Okay.
Why? Obviously. Why would you say that?
Well, because I just met you.
Hey, I don't know you. I just met you.
All right, cool. I know. Don't worry. I'll give you my number. More importantly, I'll take yours because then I can keep reminding you that I exist.
Yeah.
Hi, Phiona.
Totes.
Just saying hi.
Just watching this
Again.
football game, it made me think of you. Just watching Food Channel, made me think of you. Just watching Travel Channel, made me think of you.
Hey, Phiona. Miss you.
Oh.
LOL.
XOXO.
Smiley
Hit me
face.
up. OMG. I can't deal,
Oh, my
etc.,
God.
etc.
The zeal.
Shout to Za. Phil, like, you guys were insulting me on your podcast, and I didn't appreciate it. Okay. I don't talk like that, Phil.
I couldn't deal.
Okay, I just can't deal with you two. I just can't deal.
Zeal.
Thanks, Fiona. Can I say Fiona or do I have to say Fiona?
Fiona is my name.
Okay. Cool. So
Fiona is my handle.
it's your Twitter handle. I will see.
Like, oh, Fiona.
Oh, it's more like, oh, Fiona. That's more what it is.
All right, guys. So if you're avid readers of The Guardian, please follow us on Broke Twimbos at Twitter, Facebook. You can like SoundCloud. You can subscribe and you can just listen.
iTunes, Stitcher, any artist. Basically, dude, if you're listening to podcasts, we are there.
YouTube.
You can't miss us.
Yes.
We're all up in the streets all day, every day, son. We grinding out here, you know what I mean? Putting that paper to work, you know what I mean? Holla at me all day.
If you're an aspiring rapper and you're thinking, I finally found my way in, it's very simple. Just buy us lunch one day and we might possibly
Yeah.
share the contact details of Fiona
Exactly.
here.
That's Dame Dash would say, be a real man.
Be a real
Be your own boss. How you gonna call somebody else your boss? Huh? What kind of real man does that? What?
You know,
How you gonna pay your own bills? Come on, be a man.
Shout out to the team.
Don't be a chatty patty.
On that note, we out.
We broke. Tocky Vybz, chinini ndabona vachimhanya todini nguva zvayakwana kunde haikoreri pamaketi maive bitireti zvinotoita kufamba toti kufamba kwevakadzanya manyazi hausvike zvechitotsi haungatsvake mukombe vamwe vakagara toita kufamba toti kufamba kwevakadzanya handina hangu nyembe dzeudikoni chinhu chandinoziva chetekupfugama musandipushe itoti asi handichoke kwandapira gotsi ndingaita semukadzi waloti ndoda kufamba kusina njodzi ikati one step ndomira hapana chekumhanyira ndokutye ndakagadzirira ndakaereswa nzira kumhanya ndiko kusvika unotyeko chaunotisa seni ndakatozvipira ndinosvika pananondisvikira inotoita kufamba toti kufamba kwevakadzanya manyazi hausvike zvechitotsi haungatsvoke mukombi vamwe vakagara toita kufamba toti kufamba kwevakadzanya handina hangu nyembe dzeudikoni chinhu chandinoziva chetekupfugama maitswa tichiti denga uyai muone vana venyu totambura kutsanya kusvika ravira mozevezera navana chekuluma nasi musanditsamwira munungapo wepakazima hakuna ngandikanyira ndinopenya musandityira laite muviri wese kuita fanika girasi watarisa unobuda misotsi kuteya kuvheneka semwedzi mabasa ate inotoita kufamba toti kufamba kwevakadzanya manyazi hausvike zvechitotsi haungatsvoke mukombe vamwe vakagara toita kufamba toti kufamba kwevakadzanya handina hangu nyembe dzeudikoni chinhu chandinoziva chetekupfugama
Toti Toti asi handicheuke kwandapira gotsi ndingaita semukadzi waloti ndoda kufamba kusina njodzi ndingati one step ndomira hapana chekumhanyira ndokutye indakagadzirira dzakaereswa nzira kumhanya ndiko kusvika unotyeko chaunotisa seni ndakatozvipira ndinosvika panano ndisvikira zvinotoita kufamba toti toti kufamba kwevakadzanya manyafi hausvike zvechitotsi haungachoke mukombi vamwe vakagara toita kufamba toti toti kufamba kwevakadzanya handina hangu nyembe dzeudikoni chinhu chandinoziva chete kupfugama mainzwa tichiti denga uyai muone vana venyu tatambura kutsanya kusvika ravira mozevezerana vana chekuluma nhasi musanditsamwira munongako wepakazima hakuna ngandikanyira ndinopenya musandityira laite muviri wese kuita fanika girasi watarisa unobuda misodzi kuteya kuvheneka semwedzi mabasa ate zvinotoita kufamba toti toti kufamba kwevakadzanya manyafi hausvike zvechitotsi haungachoke mukombi vamwe vakagara toita kufamba toti toti kufamba kwevakadzanya handina hangu nyembe dzeudikoni chinhu chandinoziva chete kupfugama